So, good afternoon, everybody, or at least good afternoon from the UK. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for joining us for this University of Plymouth International College pre-departure webinar for all the new students who will be joining us in May, in just a couple of weeks now. So we hope you're getting excited. We're certainly getting excited at the prospect of welcoming you to Plymouth and to UPIC. To start with some introductions, my name is Tim Gutzel. I'm Director of Marketing and Admissions at the college, and I'll allow the three other panelists to introduce themselves. We have a mix of colleagues and former students here to inform and entertain and delight you this afternoon.
Hi everyone, good afternoon from wherever you are. Good morning, good evening. My name is Toby Joseph Johnson. I'm the Student Experience Coordinator here at the University of Plymouth International College. Nadine?
Good afternoon, morning, evening, everyone. My name is Nadine Mashingaidze. I was a student just like you will be in a few weeks' time, but I've since graduated. So here to give you a bit more of an experience of what it's actually like being a student, what to expect, and the prospects thereafter, which are very exciting.
My name is Laura. I was studying as well in UPIC a few years back. They changed the name, so
we did. It's our fault,
with my head. I'm still studying here at the University of Plymouth. I'm doing my PhD here. So any questions that you have, how uni is at the moment, what's experience, clubs, societies, really anything related with life living in Plymouth, I'll be glad to answer you back.
Thanks all. So we do have a lot of information that we need to share with you. So you can see our agenda on the screen now. But we will try and mix this up. We'll give you the opportunity to ask questions of everybody on the panel, especially of our former students. And we'll try to make sure you have all of the detailed information that you need in order to join us. Feel free to use your voice to ask questions if you would like to, or drop them into the chat or the Q&A, and we'll try and keep up with those as we go along. Now I'll hand over to Toby to take us through the agenda. Well, if I just give an introduction to the kind of things we're going to cover. So after Toby's introduction, we'll have a brief introduction to our alumni, to Lara and to Nadine. We'll talk about the services available to you at the Student Hub. We'll talk about accommodation options, about arriving in the UK and the relevant dates for that, about how to get to Plymouth, about student visas for those of you who need a visa and still have questions about that. We'll talk about the medical centre, and in COVID times, if you have any questions still about vaccinations, we can help with those. We'll talk you through the induction week activities, our semester dates, and give you a bit of an introduction as well to the University's Students' Union and the sabbatical officers there. So going all the way back to the top, over to you, Toby.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, Tim. Really appreciate it. So UPIC Student and Academic Services team. That team compromises of two other members of staff that are not on this call at the moment, Dr. David Jones and Dion Orell. Dr. David Jones is the head of teaching and learning, and Dion Orell is the student experience officer here at the college. We are your first point of contact for when you arrive in the UK. We're also available for students who will be studying online for this semester. So we will be taking an online blended approach for this semester. For some of you, if you're not aware, you are allowed to study online up until the 30th of June. We advise all students to make sure that they make their preparations to get here to attend face-to-face classes before then. Obviously, you can only maximize the experience that you have by accessing all the facilities available on campus. As Nadine and Laura have both studied here, they've been here face to face, so there's much more available. Not to say that if you're online that you miss out. Most of the sessions are all recorded, so you have access to all the information. And I believe some of the facilities available, like the Student Hub, have online facilities. Our opening hours are from 8:30 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's Thursday today. In the UK at the moment, it's bank holiday, so we're not open tomorrow and Monday, just because of the Easter break. But you can still contact us via email at the bottom, student.support. We're here for every query that you may have, either be academic, welfare, accommodation options, anything really. We are here to support you. In regards to the Student Hub is a student center located in the university library. What I will do after a couple slides is take you through a virtual tour of the campus and the city, and I'll be able to show you where the Student Hub's located in the university library. Just below there are just some of the different services they offer. They've got a welfare team, counseling, disability and dyslexia service, and also a student center and immigration. Student center and immigration is really for any general issues that students may experience while studying. The immigration is there for students who need some extra advice about their visas, if they wish to take a placement year and they want to know what requirements there are to get placements in another country. And if they just want general advice around immigration, there's a very specialized team available to them, I believe 3 days a week.
Toby, might be a good time to get Lara and Nadine to tell us a bit about their first impressions when they arrived, and how useful they found all of these services when they first joined us.
Go on. Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with Lara. Lara, since you are on campus at the moment, I believe you're doing your PhD, you mentioned. So what kind of, how often do you use the library, really? Sorry, you're mute.
Sorry. So at the moment, I don't use the library much because I have a lab in other building that my lecturer provides me. So I can do all my work there without really being disturbed. Again, I'm studying robotics. So it's a really noisy field. So I cannot really be in the library with all my motors or robots doing noises like ping, ping, ping. It will annoy everyone. So I have a lab, but during my undergraduate studies, I came here really often. I find it in the library really, really nice. There's sofas, there's private rooms. At the moment, I'm in one of these rooms. So I booked a room and the room is for my own, so I can use it as much as I want. So it's really convenient and it's 24 hours.
Fantastic. And Nadine, how did you find the library or all the other facilities available on campus?
I can remember that far back. You know what, the library was great. I think, like Laura said, there's rooms that you can book out. So especially when you're kind of got assessments or assignments and your dissertation, we would kind of book out rooms and be in there for hours and hours. You can lock it, come back, take your food in, take a blanket, take a nap. So it's a really nice way to kind of be away from your room and distractions of your house, but in the library where there's other people doing the same thing as you. The other services were great. I think, for any concerns that you have, there is always something available for you on the university campus. So yeah, when you do come here, just maximize on that. Don't be quiet. Really kind of ask Toby, ask Tim, ask those in the UPIC office, because they'll be able to help you. There's something for everyone.
Fantastic, thank you. Also, just to check as well, most of the students studying here are going to be joining the college and not the university. So some of the things I think students generally have a question about is, what are the classes like? When you both studied here, how was it being in a smaller class in comparison to when you progressed to university and went into the big ocean from a river, so to speak?
I think for me it was really helpful when I came here to the UK. The English, as Toby knows, wasn't really my strength. So coming into smaller classes with people with a similar situation as you, their families are not nearby, they come from countries with different languages, and in the end of the day, you have to relearn everything. So it was really nice to make a group of friends in the same situation, and in the end of the year, we become really good friends and we progress together throughout the whole undergraduate degree. So it was really nice. UP gave me this small little family where I could learn without being judged. or feeling judged by anyone else.
Fantastic.
I think Laura's absolutely right. I think it's a really good transition when you're coming from far away. Like Laura said, you don't have your family. You're all kind of thrown into, one, you're in a new country completely, so you're learning how that works, but two, equally, you're trying to study. So I think it's a really nice kind of way to settle in to the university and then transition on. And again, you make your friends, you kind of get comfortable with each other so that when you do transition on, you're all together, you're not by yourself. Whereas if you just come and you're straight thrown in, it's a lot of people to be thrown into. So yeah, definitely think it's a nice touch.
Fantastic. It's glad to know that we provide a good soft landing for students. In regards to the location, most people know Plymouth now as Britain's Ocean City. As we go along, you guys will find out why as I take you across my little drone across the city and the campus. Plymouth is a population of about just under 250,000 people, and it exudes a big city atmosphere, but with like, you know, flaunting those small natural beauties by the seaside, etc. And you can see from GQ magazine quote at the bottom there that it's the coolest little city by the sea. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'll show you why some people have that opinion. And hopefully we can find out where Lara and Nadine visit during social events whilst they're going around the city. So there we are, right above campus. I think Lara is in one of these buildings at the bottom here. Nadine's further north of the city. But what I'll do is I'll just take you to Plymouth Ho, where both Lara and I believe Nadine graduated from. So guys, can you just tell me a little bit about, you know, why you think it's called Ocean City? I mean, it's pretty obvious with all that blue right in front of you, but yeah, what are your experiences? What do you enjoy doing during your free time whilst you're in Plymouth?
So being in Plymouth, I think I love it. Like if no, I wouldn't do my postgraduate studies here. I feel like all that area is such a relaxing place where to be with your friends after afternoons in the library, maybe after exams or just any weekend, just being able to go there, take the paddle boards or just go for a swim there. It's one of the things I enjoy the most about Plymouth, really.
Fantastic. And you graduated on this whole, I think. I think we have a couple photos of you from the top.
Yes.
Nadine, you too as well. How often do you take a walk to the Ho, Nadine?
Yeah, pretty often. So my office is literally 5 minutes away from the Ho. So every lunchtime when it's not raining, I sit up there. You know, there's places where you can get a coffee. It's a lovely walk. And if you just want some peace and quiet, sometimes it's just nice to be by the ocean and by the sea. So yeah, no, I can't fault the Ho, can't fault Royal William Yard, the Barbican. That's Royal William Yard, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, again, so many restaurants, a nice place for you to go with your friends, lots of shops, again, beautiful water, beautiful views. It's just really, really calming and peaceful. The kind of, yeah, the work-life balance that you get from Plymouth is just second to none.
One thing really interesting to do in the whole the Barbican and also Royal William Yard is that you can also take these boats and you can go by boat and travel from place to place. You can go to this huge park just in front of Plymouth that's called Mount Edgecombe in boat. And it's such a nice ride to go with your friends and have a nice afternoon. It's really interesting.
Fantastic. And Tim, how often do you venture to these parts? Because it's not just for students, I think.
Every day, Toby, pretty much, because all of this is so convenient as well. It's another point to make. So everything that you're showing, from the Royal William Yard through the Ho down to Sutton Harbour, where you can see now, all of this is just 10-15 minutes walk, and very close to the city centre as well. So it really is quite realistic to think that you can do this every day around your lectures, your work, your social life. It's all so convenient as a student city. And a
Fantastic.
staff city is a place for us to live too, Toby, isn't it? As staff, it's a good place to live.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. I mentioned earlier in the previous slides that the university student hub is located in the library. So at the moment, we're hovering right across the university campus itself. So anything across this, my cursor, if you can see that, right around this way is the university campus. The college itself is right here on the corner of the university. And as you can see, it's right across the train station. So it's got really good transportation links to some of the major cities where there's airports, so Bristol, London Heathrow, Exeter Airport, so Exeter through Exeter Airport. And we've also got a coach station that's central in the city, just around here, right across where my cursor is. And that takes you straight from London Heathrow down to Plymouth, about 5 hours on the coach and 3 hours by train. So it's got really good transportation links. And like everyone said, when you're walking from the college or the campus right across to across through the city center and up to the Plymouth Hoe, it's only about 10 to 15-minute walk. So in regards to transportation costs, you guys don't really necessarily, I don't think, I mean, Nadine, both you and Laura live here. Do you have cars? Do you need a car necessarily?
In the 10 years that I've lived in Plymouth, I haven't had a car. I can drive. I'm thinking about it now, 10 years later, but even then, I'm really struggling to justify why I need a car, because everything is in walking distance, and all the bus system is really good. So the transport system generally is really, really good. So I haven't needed one, but yeah.
I haven't used transportation at all in Plymouth. I think like the few times I needed transportation is because I had volleyball matches. So I had to go there, maybe like, you know, my friends will take the car or we will take the bus. So it wasn't really many occasions where we needed the car. I think it was this year, like a few weeks ago, really, when I got my car and I just used it to go to trainings for volleyball, the ones that are far away, or like games on Exeter. But not really, you don't need it for a normal life. 4 years in Plymouth, I didn't need a car. I didn't need to move around. Everything was nearby.
Great. And I just wondering as well, whilst we're on that subject about, you know, the environment, what is Plymouth like as for students from an international background, Laura and Nadine?
When I came here, I was really nervous because I didn't know if I would be able to talk to people or if people will even understand me. But when I came here to the university and to the city, I found out that people was really nice. People in the supermarket will talk to you and will try to have a conversation with you. And for me, it was something that shocked me a lot. Later in uni, like my lecturers, I will go up to them and be like, I don't really understand this that you just explained. And they will sit down with me after the lecture and try to go through it so I will understand what they were saying. So people is really nice. It's really helpful. And it's a great city really to learn the language and live a great experience in uni.
Fantastic. And Nadine, what would you say, like, you know, obviously as an undergrad student and later on as a postgrad student, what is it like for an international student? What were your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I really found Plymouth to be an inclusive kind of university, and kind of venturing out also into the community. So as an international student, I think the people who live here, who have grown up here, obviously recognize that there's a university and it will home a lot of students who are not from here. They're very, very accommodating, very willing to help. It is really just an open-minded city. The people are lovely. Like Laura said, people speak to you, and initially you do think it's a bit weird, but it's just because people are really lovely. They're really friendly and willing to help. So yeah, it's been great. It's a friendly city for sure.
Fantastic. Tim, did you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I think that's all good.
Fantastic. I'll just come back onto the slide. And there we go. So yeah, we've experienced Britain's Ocean City. Hopefully, some of you that are on this call can join and experience both what Nadine, Laura, Tim, and I experience on a daily basis. So just a general overview. Like I mentioned, the college is located right at the corner of the campus. Everything within this whole circle in purple is the city center, is a university campus. There's also some facilities dotted around the city, but the main campus is right at the center of the city. Gone over the virtual map. A little bit about accommodation in Plymouth. So, you know, I'm sure most of you are aware, prices may vary across the whole country itself, but one thing that we can, you know, pride ourselves with in the Southwest and in Plymouth specifically is the range of accommodation available. Now, we signpost students to use Clever Student Let's, our accommodation provider, but it's completely optional, and students are able to, you know, have a look on Google, do their own research and sort after different types of accommodation with other providers. The joy about, you know, accommodation in Plymouth is, like both of our alumni mentioned, is the fact that it's only a 5 to 10 minute walk away from campus. You can stay on campus if you want to, but you get more variety staying on the outskirts of campus with the same added benefits of, you know, Wi-Fi, all bills inclusive, and in some cases, you know, a complimentary bedding pack. Ensuite accommodation is usually what's very popular. As you can see there, some of the stats. So Plymouth was top 5 safest cities, and also cost effective. We don't like to use the word cheap. We like to use words around value, what value can be added and substituted for payment, obviously. Prices vary from anywhere from £90 to about £110 a week. And an application can be made via the URL at the top of the page. So it's completely optional, and we are available here to answer any queries that you all may have. This just has a little bit more spiel about our partnership with Clever Student Let's, the quarantine arrangement when students had to quarantine, but that has obviously changed now. As long as you're fully vaccinated, I believe you can arrive in the UK. I'm sure that we'll get Tim to talk a little bit more about that in regards to, like, you know, the last day of arrival and information around coronavirus. Tim?
Sure, thank you, Toby. Thankfully, there's a lot less to say now about coronavirus than there has been for most of the last 2 years. So there are no travel restrictions left now on coming into the UK or traveling around in the UK. People are still a little bit cautious because infection rates are still quite high, but the number of hospitalizations is very much lower. So the virus is still with us, but it isn't making people as sick as it has done for much of the last 2 years. So that's something to be grateful for. As we move out of the coronavirus period, though, and hopefully put it behind us, we're still settling back into kind of getting back to normal. And it's appreciated that there are lots of delays now that have built up. So we can still have students start with us online. And we have been teaching online for over 2 years now. But the last arrival date now, so if we issue you a CAS and you get a visa to start with us in May, the last arrival date now in the UK is the 30th of June. So you need to be here by then. After that date, so July and onwards, all of our teaching will then be fully on campus again in the classroom.
Thank you very much for that, Tim. So just a little bit more about, you know, how to get to Plymouth, the various services available. We've got an airport pickup service. As you can see, there's a URL here of how to apply. The cost is about £240. So from that, depending on where you're arrive from, so either, you know, Exeter, London Heathrow, London Gatwick, Bristol, completely depends on your preference. There are various methods of getting to Plymouth, obviously not by foot because it'll be a really long time. By train, obviously by coach, private collection through our airport pickup. It's very important that you check the URLs highlighted in blue. So Heathrow Express, the National Rail, National Express, and obviously our website for the different airport pickup options. BRP. So most of you on this call at the moment would probably be coming from international countries that require you to pick up your biometric residence permit. It's very important just because you're not on our license as an international student, you're on the universities. So the whole idea of us as a pathway provider is that we're offering you the main product, because essentially you want to be a University of Plymouth student, but you don't quite meet those requirements. And we are providing you that extra soft landing, like what Nadine and Lara said, in the sense that you're coming into a smaller environment and we're getting you ready for that transition to the bigger world that is the university. So with that comes some requirements, and that means that, you know, when you arrive in the UK, it's very important that you email UKVI reporting and inform them that you've come through the border force and you've had your passport stamped, and that you're ready to pick up your biometric residence permit, which usually is at the post office, unless you're under 18, at which point you'd need myself to accompany you to go pick that up. Other facilities available, medical center. Whilst we're on the subject of medical center, I'm sure most of you are going to be aware of the vaccinations and what requirements there are whilst you're coming into the UK. So that's what the next slide talks about. Both of you, I'm not too sure, Nadine, Lara, did you guys use the medical center much when you were here? If you had any like sick absence, needed any sick letters or anything?
To be honest, yes, I did use it. It's quite helpful. You just go online, put a request that you need to see a doctor. They call you the next day, have an appointment that same day, and you're good to go. And it's 5 minutes from the library, so it's not really that far away.
Fantastic. And Nadine?
Yeah, no, I did. I think a lot of you, if you are I don't know what countries you're coming from, but if you are coming from a climate that's hot, you're coming into a climate that can sometimes be cold. So when I did have a flu or a cold, like Laura said, really simple, see a doctor. There's a pharmacy right next to it. So if you need to get any cough mixture or throat lozenges, then yeah, everything is just readily available for you.
Great. And yeah, in regards to the vaccination, so as an international student, when you're applying for your visa, one of the things you pay for is an IHS fee, so international health surcharge. That amount covers you through the whole period whilst you're studying with us, not just ourselves, but the university. So throughout your whole visa, and that means you're eligible to use the services. So in regards to appointments, you don't have to pay anything. I believe as a student as well, you don't have to actually pay for your prescription. So all very positive, working towards you being in full health to be able to attend all your classes, which is fantastic. And whilst we're talking about attending classes, it's very important to talk about the orientation and enrollment period. I'd say this is one of the most important periods of the whole semester, because it gives you a good introduction of, you know, the facilities available, what to expect, and also, you know, the requirements of yourself to be the best, you know, you can be whilst you study here. The enrollment week is between the 9th and the 13th of May, and 16th or 20th if you're studying a pre-masters. Classes start the following week after those orientation periods. And some of the requirements are stated there in this presentation. Not to worry, you don't have to take it all down now. We will be sending out some pre-departure information on the run-up. So probably at the end of this month, stroke the early first week of May. On the day 5 of the orientation week, what we do is we have really core specific program talks. So essentially you get spoken to by the different faculties. If you're an art student, you're spoken to the arts and humanities. If you're a health and science students, you have inductions with the different faculties as well. You're also having a welcome talk from both the college principal, myself, and the head of teaching and learning. So, you know, you're made to be very special. You're giving all these introductions. The red carpet really and truly is rolled out for you, but it's very important. And like we said, if you can attend from day one so you can get the best value. Some of the other important dates here for you, for some of you, is information around when your next semester fees might be due for the following semester. If you're joining us in May, those fees will be due on the 22nd of July, and also dates around the exam period. So as you come, some of you still want to be finding out probably when you can go back and visit family during the summer period, so you can return on the 13th of August. Just a little bit about the Students' Union and the societies available. I know both Nadine and Laura are like our super sporty alumni here. Nadine with the hockey and Laura with the volleyball. So both of you, I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about the societies and how that helped, make those good relationships across the university?
I think joining a club, joining a society is the best way to make friends here in the university. I found out like once you move out from your foundation year, you go into uni, there's so many people in your class. It's really hard to make really, really close friendships. That's why you join like these clubs. You join these clubs, you get to know. My closest friends now in uni are from volleyball. I go to train with them like 3 days per week. We have games on the weekends. We travel together. Now next week, they're going on tour to Italy, to Milan. So like there's a lot of plans, a lot of activities to do with them. And I think it was the right choice for me, like joining a club that was that friendly. And yeah, I'm having a good time.
That's great.
I definitely echo that. I think a society is the best way to just kind of engross yourself in something other than your studies. Of course, you are here to study, but you're also here to experience a different country, to grow as well, and to also grow your interest. So if you are interested in sport, doesn't only have to be sport. There's so many societies, but if you do have an interest, there's probably a society there for you. So don't feel like because you've come here to study, that's all you need to do. Definitely immerse yourself in anything and any other activities that you can.
That's great. And these sabbatical offices are just for this academic year. Obviously, for the purpose of most of you who will be joining this May intake, these are your current sabbatical offices, but new sabbatical offices come every academic year. So there are a couple new sabbatical offices joining now that will be here from the 2022 to 2023 academic year. But please do have a look at the different societies available via that URL at the bottom, upsu/clubs and societies. There's over 300 different societies, anything from sports to gaming to Harry Potter society, everything and anything for anyone. And I think there are different international societies as well. So depending on your background, the Indian Student Society, the Nigerian Student Society, Hong Kong Student Society, there's something for everyone, which is truly amazing. And just to wrap up, just before we start our Q&A, is just the contact details for Tim and myself. Any of you who have any queries regarding your application, any questions that you want to ask us outside of this meeting. And yeah, I just really want to open up the floor now to everyone in the Q&A and the chat function to ask your questions and ask the alumni, ask them serious, harder questions than what I have done in regards to what their experience has been like and is like in Britain's Ocean City.
Toby, just to say, we've had quite a few questions in the chat and the Q&A about the status of individual application. I can't actually answer those right now because I can't get into the admission system while we're on this call. But for those of you who do still have a question about your application, take a note of my contact details there. Send me an email to that address. And then as soon as we're finished, I'll look up your record on the admission system and get back to you personally.
That's great. Thanks, Tim. Any other questions for anybody? So, just having a look through whether there's anything else. Please feel free to use the Q&A, or I can promote you to the panelist and you can just come on and have some questions.
I think we're up to date, I think, with the questions in the Q&A and the chat, but if we've missed anybody, then please do shout out. If you raise your hand, as Toby says, then we can allow you to use your voice to ask a question as well. Don't be shy. We're not that scary. Or I am. Toby isn't. Nadine isn't. Lara isn't.
I can be sometimes. Depends on how much chocolate I've had. Just give it 1 minute.
I think I'm just going to take a moment to give credit to Nadine and Lara again. So for all of you waiting to join us, I studied abroad when I was younger, much younger. I know how scary it can be. And I know that Lara has told us how nervous she was when she arrived and about people not understanding her. Just a few years later, now Lara is doing a PhD. So she's an absolute academic superstar who's come through UPIC, an undergraduate degree, and onto a PhD. So a real academic high flyer. So that's a great example of how you can go from being really nervous, wondering if university is right for you, to being a really high achiever. And Nadine as well is a high-flying lawyer here in Plymouth. So she stayed here and developed professionally really well, but also developed fantastically within the community. And I know, Nadine, you've done a lot of care work, haven't you, in the community? So really tried to contribute to the city and to the people of Plymouth, as well as take advantage of the opportunity. So yeah, if you are out there and you're feeling a bit nervous, Nadine and Lara are great examples of what can be achieved when you overcome those nerves, you engage with us, and really engage with your studies.
I think it helped a lot to go into uni with a mentality like, okay, I don't know much of the English, or there's some subjects I don't know anything about. But when you go into uni, it really doesn't matter what your English level is. Go up to the lecturers and ask them everything you can, because without doing that, like, they're not gonna offer you like many opportunities that they will offer you if you ask. So it's just about not being scared. Like, it's a bit tricky in the beginning, because again, I was really nervous the first time, but like putting everything of yourself out there, thinking that you are not the only one. There's so many people like you, and there's so many people that if you actually have a conversation with them, they will be able to tell you so many tricks and so many things like that we change as persons to be able to adapt. It's the best thing, talk with people and ask for advice, ask for help if you need it.
Fantastic. And that is really inspirational, because the questions that you ask give people the confidence to come up and ask questions themselves that they may have. So it's always good. You're not, by asking questions and by inquiring whilst you're studying abroad, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping others that don't have the courage to be able to actually take that first step. So yes, absolutely. It's really inspirational. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Lara and Nadine. I think we've got someone on the attendees that's raising their hands. Ademola, I will just promote you and allow you to talk. What questions do you have, Ademola? Ademola. I have just popped something in the chat. I'm sure we can.
She's on mute, so he or she is on mute.
Yeah. Yeah, Ademola, if you had a question, just pop it on the chat. We'll be able to answer. Maybe you're having issues unmuting yourself. Is anybody else's hand raised? Patricia, I'll promote you and allow you to talk. Patricia, how can we help? Hello. Ask to unmute. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi, how can we help?
Okay, my question is, what's the last day of insurance of cars?
Okay.
What's the last? Yeah.
Tim, I think we have hold on, let me have a look. It depends on the country you're applying for. Patricia, can you tell us what country you're applying for at the moment?
Nigeria.
Okay, so there isn't, is that for the May intake, correct? Are you
Yes,
doing
me intake.
are you doing undergraduate or postgraduate by any chance?
Postgraduate.
Okay, so if you're
Pre-masters.
okay, postgraduate. So the last day to enroll is the 20th of May, but the last day to get a CAS would be, I would say, probably about the first or second week of May, leaving you just about 6 weeks, just in case, depending on how long the visa applications are taking. You have to be here before the 30th of June, Tim, if that's correct, I think.
That is correct, absolutely. So
Yes.
ideally, we would have people join us by the dates you just mentioned, Toby. But as I said before, there are still some delays with issuing visas at the moment. So we can still enroll you online. So we would simply send you an invitation to a Zoom meeting and go through the enrollment process online. And then you can start your classes online, and we live stream everything and record so you can access those classes and keep up with your studies.
Okay.
But if we issue you with a CAS and you get a visa to start in the May intake, then you do need to be in the UK by the 30th of June. So after that date, from July onwards, all of the teaching is back on campus and in the classroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you do meet the requirements before then, obviously, I've mentioned and I stressed this during this presentation, it'll be good for you to attend the orientation between the 16th and the 20th of May. So if you have all your information ready and you've submitted that to the admissions team, one of our colleagues will be in touch soon, and I'm sure they will be happy to help process your CAS and have that ready for you. Just be aware that we are closed from tomorrow, from later from this evening at 5 o'clock up until 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday. So there may be some delays, so do bear with us, please.
Okay, sir. No
All right.
problem.
Do you have any other questions, Patricia?
No, no questions. I already have the precast form. So
Okay.
is my statements
Okay.
about to mature. That's what is keeping it. Every
Okay.
other document is in place. So
Fantastic.
that's why I asked. Yes, that's why I asked the deadline for the CAS.
Okay. No problem. Thank you ever so much, Patricia, and hopefully looking forward to welcoming you to Britain's Ocean City.
All right.
All the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions before we start wrapping things up?
Just to repeat, if you do have a question about the status of your application and we've not been able to answer it yet, you have mine and Toby's contact details there. So do email us. And then as soon as we're finished with the webinar, we can check on the status of your application and get back to you, let you know what may still need to be done. But yeah, do email us and we'll check it up for you. Okay, I think we're done.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for everyone who has attended this pre-departure webinar, the second in our series. We will be having another one on the 28th of this month. I believe Nadine and one other alumni will be joining us, details to follow, hopefully. And yeah, thank you to the panel. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Lara, for joining us today. And yeah, goodbye from Britain's Ocean City. Happy Easter to all. And yeah, looking forward to meeting you. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.